March Madness is officially here, and unlike last year, we all get to fill out brackets, act like we know everything there is to know about college basketball, and try to predict the unpredictable nature of March Madness, only to agonize about our decisions and complain about how brackets are, well, stupid by the end of the opening weekend. Welcome on into Jay Sports Bar. I'm your host, Jay Tuss. You know, the Treasure Valley has a number of connections playing in the NCAA Tournament this year. Former NNU men's basketball standout Adonis Arms is now with Winthrop. Capitol High grad Ben Tucker and former Boise State assistant John Rillie have helped UC Santa Barbara get back to the big dance. And coming up in just a few minutes, you're going to hear from Rocky Mountain alumnus Kolby Lee and Borah High grad Ellis Magnuson on what life is like in the NCAA bubble in Indianapolis. Kolby plays for BYU while Ellis suits up for Eastern Washington. First, though, we begin with some Boise State men's basketball news. You know, the Broncos snapped a 4-game losing streak with a thrilling 85-84 victory over SMU in the NIT on Thursday. Playing in Frisco, Texas, just 22 miles away from SMU's campus, Boise State was the team that felt right at home. The Broncos got off to an incredible start, building a 30-9 lead, which impressed and maybe even surprised head coach Leon Rice.
I was so proud of the way we shared the ball, moved it, and God, we looked like a really good basketball team, especially to start the game. Holy cow.
Now, eventually, SMU rallied back, and with under a minute to go in the game, they even took a 1-point lead. That's when Mladen Armish tipped the ball to Devonaire Doutrive following a miss off of an attempt by Emmanuel Akot, and Doutrive knocked down the game winner. Doutrive later explained how much the moment meant to him.
Yeah, it's always a blessing. It's always like, it's a dream. Like, everybody want to, like, as a kid, hit the game winner in any games. But this was just a big moment for our team, and we got the job done.
Just great, Devonaire, he's been through a lot, and just seeing his perseverance and, how he continues to battle and fight every single day and, continue to get better and do whatever it takes for his team to win. It's just something special.
Now, that last voice you heard was Emmanuel Akot, who played with Doutrive at Arizona before the two decided to transfer to Boise State. Following 9 days on the road, Boise State now gets to finally come home to the City of Trees before their Elite Eight showdown in the NIT next Thursday. Hey, how about a few tough stats for you? Emmanuel Akot became just the fourth Bronco in the Leon Rice era to finish with at least 17 points and 9 assists in a single game, joining the likes of Chandler Hutchison, Richard Anderson, as well as Mikey Thompson. Akot, however, is the only one to accomplish that stat line in the postseason. And speaking of the postseason, Mladen Armish scored 12 second-half points. He finished with 18 total points and 10 rebounds. In doing so, he achieved just the 7th double-double by a Bronco in an NIT game. Okay, over to the NCAA tournament now. 4 of the 64 teams in the field have significant Treasure Valley ties. First up, former NNU men's basketball star Adonis Arms will make his NCAA tournament debut with the Winthrop Eagles. They're the 5 seed and will play 12 seed Villanova in the final game on the first full day of the tournament, just like he did at NNU. Arms rocks the number 25. Unlike his time at NNU, though, Arms comes off the bench, but he still packs a punch when it comes to scoring. He's averaging 10.5 points per game, the second most on the Eagles. How about this? Capitol High grad and former College of Idaho assistant Ben Tucker is on the same coaching staff at UC Santa Barbara with former Boise State assistant John Rillie. That duo has helped the Gauchos get to the dance for the first time in about a decade. They are also a 12 seed. They will play Creighton, a 5 seed at 1:30 Mountain Time on True TV on Saturday. UC Santa Barbara is a 7.5-point underdog, but they have star guard Ja'Cory McLaughlin, who hails from my hometown of Tacoma, Washington. So the Gauchos are a significant threat in that matchup. But getting back to those on-court local matchups, Kolby Lee and Ellis Magnuson are 2 of the best prep players that have recently come out of the state of Idaho. On Thursday, I caught up with Lee, a former Rocky Mountain standout and state champion who now plays for BYU. Kolby, congrats on making it this far. What does it mean to you to be playing in March Madness? I mean, you've probably been dreaming of this moment ever since you picked up a basketball when you were much shorter than you are now.
Yes, I mean, what it means to me to be in this position is obviously I'm super grateful and super thankful for this opportunity that me and my team have. But yeah, you dream of this as a little kid. And I always remember, playing outside, with friends or just by myself. And, you always dream of advancing and surviving and just taking it all in. And I used to go to the games when Boise would host the tournament, and sometimes I'd even drive to Salt Lake and just watch the games. And first of all, you want to go play Division I basketball, but then to make it there, you got to be, top 68 teams in the country when there's over 320 teams. So to be here in the stage we are as a 6th seed is pretty surreal. It's an incredible feeling to know that we're, set up to hopefully go the round of 32, and then we'll see what magic happens in March Madness. It's always a couple of years ago we had a 16 seed beat a 1 seed, so you just never know what's going to happen. And that's the part of March that's so fun, because it's March Madness, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. One thing about this year, it might be unique to the rest of every other March Madness ever. Coming from somebody that is living inside the bubble right now in Indianapolis, what is it like?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know what it's like. So we had to test all week before we actually got here. And if there was any signs of positive tests or inconclusives, then some teams get shut down. So our coach was very adamant about, you're not going anywhere. You put your girlfriends, put your friends, your family, put them on the back burner and say, we have the rest of our lives to be with you, but right now we only get this one chance to make some magic happen. And so he was very strict. Obviously I'm married now, but me and my wife, we just hunkered down our little home, and we just stayed inside. And our coach slept in the basement of his house and didn't see his wife and kids. So we took it pretty serious. So we had to obviously pause our test negative the week before, and then when we got here, we had to quarantine. So this is the first time we've actually. Normally we have roommates when we room and go on the road. This is one of the first time on room, because they all want us quarantined. So we each get our own room, and we have to isolate for 2 days. The first 2 days you test, and then obviously the same rules apply. You have to test negative. So our team, we passed, which is good. It's always scary. Sometimes there's false positives, and we've had that this season where there's a couple guys that tested positive. I actually was one of them, and I had 0 symptoms. I felt great, and then they retested it, and then it was negative. So there's been times where you get a false positive, and here they're not messing around with it. So if you test positive or have a false positive, you're done. So it's a very scary feeling of, well, we want to be here and we want to play. So they bring meals to your room. So we stay in our room. They bring meals to us, and then once those 2 days are over, we get a lift and go to practice. But they're taking it so serious that to go to practice, we have 3 buses, and you have to alternate seats, and you have to wear a mask. Our coaches provided us with this humidifier that we wear around our necks. So we're going all out. It's pretty wild. And actually today we had a cool opportunity to play at Butler's gym, which is where they filmed the Hoosiers. So that was a pretty cool experience.
What's this humidifier about?
So let me go grab it real quick. They're all custom. They got our numbers on it. But so it just looks like this, and it goes around your neck.
Okay.
But basically it's clean air that you're breathing. So it kind of cleans the air so that you're breathing good air and not, I guess, germ infected air. I don't know how it works, but they tell us to wear it, so we got to wear it.
Does this add to the experience, or does it make it more complicated, Kolby?
I would say a little bit of both, a little bit of best of both worlds, because one, no other teams have ever done this before. So this is, a cool thing that we can share with, my kids one day, or people that want to know about it, because it's never been done before. But there are times like today, you have to have credentials and you have to have a mask. And there's a lot of times where I'll walk out of the room and I won't have a mask because I forget. And then I got to turn right back around and like, oh crap, I forgot my mask, So it's like, there's times where it's pretty cool. And then there's times where it's like, oh man, like this, when is this going to be over? So a little bit of both.
I feel like the pandemic and all the protocols and everything that it's demanded of every team across the country, it's either made it more difficult on some teams, or in some cases it kind of galvanized teams.
Yeah.
What has it done for you guys? How have you been able to beat all of this adversity to become a 6th seed at the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I think it's actually brought us more together. We have a saying on our team, BLRA, which means best locker room in America. So we've always been like a team together team that sacrifices for each other. So our coach actually, for the West Coast Conference tournament, he said the same thing going here. I shut it down. So no talking to anybody, no, you got to put your family on hold, that kind of thing. And so, but for us, like we're family. So really we're together every single day anyways. So we're pretty good in that way. But I think in our situation, it's different because there's just so much going on outside of basketball, and we're fortunate enough to have testing every single day, and we're provided with 100 masks and all this stuff like the humidifier. We have all these extra things that people actually care, and they're taking care of us, and it's cool to see not only our team but like the university itself come together and support our athletes.
Kolby, you were such a standout basketball player at the high school level here. You go back to, Coach Roy and those guys. How much did they prepare you for this moment? How much did they really lay the groundwork and the foundation for you to one day be playing in the NCAA basketball tournament?
I would say they helped a ton because for the longest time, I made the tournament every single year. I was a varsity as a freshman, and so I was able to experience it for 4 years. And it took me till my senior year to finally get to the state championship and win. When every year we had a team that was capable of doing that, but it was that first round. It's, in my opinion, the first round is always the hardest game. And so if we come out and we win this, then who knows what could happen. I think we could make a deep run, But like I still remember that game. That was our hardest game. We smacked the next 2 teams because then after that first round, it was just a fight. And both teams have a lot of confidence, and every single year we'd either get smacked in the first round or like we didn't perform or whatever it was, but it was always harder to get out of the first round than the next 2 games. And so I think that's the same thing applies here. And now that I've been on top of the other side my senior year, I think that's the same mentality we have, is got to get past the first round. Like, you got to focus on one game at a time. We're just doing everything we can to put ourselves in the best situation possible.
You've obviously evolved a little bit since the high school player that we came to know and love here in Boise. Big Kolb is kind of slimmed down a little bit, it seems, when we watch you on TV. What'd you do why'd you feel like you needed to make that transformation? And what'd you do to make that transformation? Was it the wife's cooking, or what happened?
Side comment, yeah, my wife's an unbelievable cook, by the way, which is super blessed for that. But no, so I was about to leave for my mission. And in high school, I was like, I think I weighed 275. I was a big boy. That's why they call me Big Kolb, right? But I realized I'm a little bit, yes, I'm big. I can push guys around, but I could also lose weight and get stronger, so I can still push people around, but also be able to move and guard smaller guys, especially in the West Coast Conference. There's a lot of teams that their 4 is usually pretty athletic and shoots a 3. So to be able to play, you got to be able to move your feet. And so for me, it was just one of those things where I thought I was a little bit too big. and I wanted to get to a point where I'm still strong, but I can move people easily, but I can also run the floor up and down and just continue to have that high motor. So I worked extremely hard with our strength and conditioning coach. And then there was actually one summer where I caught pneumonia and I lost 20 pounds. And instead of just gaining it back like how one of my coaches wanted me to, just eat whatever I wanted, I was just like, I'm going to eat healthy and I'm going to work out a ton. And I'm going to, just down a bunch of protein. And now my body has looked a lot better and I perform a lot better. So,
Kolby, when you kind of consider where you're at this point in time in your career, how much support are you still receiving from people here in the state of Idaho? And how much do you kind of realize that now you are the person that these young guys are looking up to, and they'll be watching you this weekend and saying, he went to my high school, or, that they're going to know where you're from.
Yeah, it's amazing, honestly, how much support I've received. And it just it goes to show who's watching and who's listening and who's, got their eyes on me. And it's amazing the support that, the Treasure Valley has, because Idaho people, we stick together, man. Like, there's a couple Idahoans on the team, Townsend, he played Rocky. He's a walk-on here. And, we stick together. Connor Harding, he's a Pocatello guy. Highland, we didn't really like them, but we still stick together just because that 208, man. So the support that we receive back home is awesome. I still have a lot of great connections back home. A lot of the Hoop Dreams guys, the club team that I played for, we're all supporting each other, different colleges. It's just fun to see where everyone's at and how we're all developing and improving. And we're all growing up, man. It's crazy because it doesn't seem that long ago that, I was in high school and I thought I ruled the world. And then now I'm in college and, it's just another person, honestly. So, but it is awesome to see how much support I got numerous text messages and, DMs on whatever social media it is, and just saying good luck and super proud of you. It's awesome to watch you on TV. And, people that you don't hear from, from forever. And then they message you and it's like, man, that means so much to me that you don't even realize. And so it's fun to have those conversations, to catch up with other people that you haven't talked to in a while. And because people, I swear, March brings people together, man. March Madness is a time where it brings people together. So it's an exciting time.
I really do appreciate Big Kolb taking some time to chat before the big game. The junior forward has appeared in 25 of 26 contests for the Cougars this season. He's averaging 3.7 points and 2 rebounds per game. Kolby, the Cougs, and fellow Rocky Mountain alumnus Townsend Triple, a walk-on at BYU, will match up against UCLA on Saturday. Tip-off for that game is at 7:40 p.m. on CBS. Now, in addition to Kolby, I also caught up with former Borah standout Ellis Magnuson. Magnuson led the Lions to a 2019 5A state basketball championship, and now he's a key contributor to the Eastern Washington Eagles. Obviously, you guys recently qualified to make it to the NCAA Tournament, a childhood dream, I would only assume. Has it hit you yet that your name will soon be attached to March Madness?
Yeah, it's kind of weird just because we've been here for almost a week now. We got here Sunday. We left the day after we won the Big Sky Championship. But it's kind of weird knowing that you're going to play Kansas on Saturday. Usually we're playing all of our Big Sky teams. And we do play big teams during the preseason, but it's pretty cool to get to play Kansas. But I think it'll really hit me once it's game day and once we get on the court.
I've heard stories so far, but what is the bubble like in Indianapolis for you, your teammates, and every other team that was good enough to make it that far?
Basically, you're just isolated from the rest of the world. Besides your phone, that's the only way you're connected to everyone else. You're isolated from the time you get here. They have you test right away, and then we have to quarantine. I think we've only been outside one time, which was today. We went and practiced at a gym we're going to play at. But other than that, we've all been inside. Everything connects to each other. We practice at the convention center that's right next to us, and there's a boardwalk that connects us. So we're not really in contact with anyone, and that's a little bit weird, but we get used to it.
What was it like when you guys first got there? I mean, usually this time of year, you're supposed to kind of be celebrating it and probably interacting with people, and it's been the exact opposite of that this year, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it's been weird. Right when we got off the plane from when we landed in Indianapolis, we got on the bus, and it was kind of cool just because we got police escorted all the way to our hotel, which everyone thought was cool. And then we got to the hotel, and they rent out 4 hotels, and they're all connected by this skywalk or whatever they call it, which is cool. And then it's also connected to the convention center, which is where all the teams practice. So I mean, you end up running into all the teams that are in there, which is cool.
What is the feeling like there, though? What's the mood like? I mean, can you tell that you're playing in the biggest basketball tournament that college basketball has to offer?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just weird just because you're in there with I think there's like 15 other teams, and it doesn't really feel like you're in March Madness just because it's really calm in there. Like, you have a lot of downtime because we only practice 1 time a day, and that's only for an hour and a half. Other than that, it's just dinner, lunch, and breakfast, and then watch a little bit of film. And other than that, you're just hanging out in your hotel room. So it's been like it's become a routine. So it's not like anything crazy, but I think it hasn't really hit anyone. It's no one's like nervous yet until it comes to the game day.
Ellis, having been raised in Boise, competed at Borah, you're one of the all-time great high school athletes that has really came out of this city. But to be playing in the NCAA tournament, I mean, what does 8-year-old Ellis Magnuson say about this opportunity?
I think you think it's cool, but my first choice was to play football. So I wasn't like many other basketball kids, and because I wanted to play football. So I think it would be cool, but it's obviously a great opportunity. It's unique. Not many people get to do this. It's definitely a moment you got to cherish, soak in, just because not everyone, coaches, players, get to do this opportunity.
I remember talking with you out at the Idaho Center, your senior year, state basketball championship. You're deciding what you want to do at the next level, and you had a number of preferred walk-on offers to play football. But Eastern Washington was the school that wanted to give you a scholarship to play basketball. And I remember you being torn then. Are you happy with your decision? And do you miss football at all?
Yeah, of course, 100%. I'm happy with my decision. I'm really happy to the place I went. There's good people there, especially in the basketball program. So it's helped me a lot. And obviously we're winning, so that's good as well. Not everyone gets to go play basketball, but also go play basketball for a winning program, which is really nice. I feel like I'm blessed to be landed to where I went to. I don't know if I miss football just because I'm so busy with basketball. I don't really have time to think about it that much. I don't think people realize how much work a Division I program puts into basketball, and how much work these players put into basketball. So I mean, obviously it'd be cool to play football again, but I'm super busy with basketball, so it's not like I'm thinking about that or anything.
This year has been different for everybody. What has this year been like for you? And you had your own battle with COVID, obviously. What was that like?
It's obviously a really unique year. I mean, my battle, it was just, if anything, it was just a little bit of a break for basketball for me. I think that's the longest I've ever been like away from basketball my whole life, since like 3rd grade or anything like that. So that was a little bit weird and getting back into it. But yeah, it's been weird. This is the first year I've never had to go to any classes at all, just because everything's online. That was a little bit weird, but yeah, it's been a weird year, especially with all these protocols and school basketball. Just everything is just a little bit different. But it's, in all honesty, it's a little bit more fun, just because you don't really know what to expect. But I feel like this year went well.
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard too many people refer to this last year as fun, Ellis. Why? Where have you been able to find joy in all of this chaos?
I mean, at the end of the day, you're still playing basketball. as weird as the year is, not many things have changed besides, I mean, the protocols you have to go through and then school. But other than that, you're still showing up at gym every day, still get to spend time with your teammates, your coaches. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're playing basketball, and that's fun to me. And everyone else would say the same, that everyone's grateful that at least we get to have a season and we get to get some games in.
What has allowed this team to have the success that you guys have had? Because not everybody has been able to handle the adversity the way the Eastern Washington Eagles have, obviously.
Yeah, I think our team has worked really hard since the summer. Just everyone showed up ready to work, and which is really good. Everyone bought into what we wanted to do. What our end goal was obviously to win the Big Sky Championship and get to the tournament. We knew that like the mentally tougher team would end up winning in the Big Sky tournament and would be the best throughout the season. I think we did a good job of being mentally tough and getting through all that adversity.
How have you seen your role adapt over the first 2 years? I mean, last year as a freshman, you were really thrown into the fire awfully quickly. And I know that you guys play a lot of bodies and that there's a ton of people that contribute on your team. But how have you seen your role kind of adapt? And you scored a lot in high school. You're not really asked to do that in college.
Yeah, it's a little bit different from the first year just because we weren't as deep. We still had a lot of the players, but we just didn't play as many. But this year we saw a lot of guys step up, which is awesome. So I feel like the role has changed a little bit for me because I can maybe play a lot one game, but maybe not play as much the next game. But the same goes for everyone else. But everyone's been a good teammate to each other, which is also really good. And everyone's been ready when their name is called. And I think that's what makes it so good. It doesn't matter who's playing, we're all happy for each other. And any given night, anyone could score 20, which is also why we're so good.
Going to the Big Sky tournament, I think one of the more memorable moments of the whole thing was the joy you saw from your coach as those final seconds ticked down. I don't even know if you saw it or not, but you could just tell that it was a big moment for the program and probably for him personally. What do you remember about that game as the final seconds ticked off the clock and you knew that you guys were marching on?
Yeah, it's kind of just like a relief. It was just kind of like everything we worked for finally paid off. And I know for the older guys too, they've been in the championship many times before, and they lost. And I was just happy to see them because they finally won the championship. We finally just finished our season off with a good note, and it was just fun, and it was a good experience.
I think there was a headline in a paper up there that kind of acknowledged that Gonzaga isn't the only basketball power up in Eastern Washington. What is it like to try to compete for the spotlight with those guys? Because they often dominate it, and that's not even just in Spokane. That's the West Coast nationally for that matter too. They're
a really good team. We respect them, and I wouldn't say we really try to compete just because I don't know, we're just playing our own game, doing our own thing in Cheney. So yeah.
What has been the best part of this year? Maybe a memory, a moment, something that just stands out to you.
Probably a turning point in the season, and it was just a good memory to me, was probably when we lost against Northern Colorado, and we're a little bit down on each other. But I think it just showed how good our team was, and we just kind of came together after that loss. And I think we went on like a 9-game winning streak or something like that. And that point in the season was really fun, just because we all came together. We kind of found each other, found ourselves as a team, and we just kind of got rolling.
How did you do that? I mean, you guys are sitting in the locker room looking at each other and something clicks. Is it a motivational speech by somebody? Is it somebody stepping up and being selfless? What actually caused that turning point to happen?
Yeah, I think it was just a lot of reflection on each other. It was just kind of like looking ourselves in the mirror and asking each other what we need to do to get better. And then I think it all starts in practice. The loss we had, the next day was a really intense practice. And I think that kind of what started it. And in practice, that kind of was what makes great teams. Just practice day in, day out. So I feel like that was kind of the turning point in our season.
Ellis, regardless of the sport, when you were at Borah High School, pretty much from the moment that you stepped on campus, you were a starter and a leader. How do you feel like those moments, your coaches here in Boise, helped prepare you for what you're dealing with right now?
Yeah, they helped me out a ton. Just practicing that stuff in high school and just being able to carry that to the next level has been huge. I know that's helped me a lot, just being more comfortable on the court and being more comfortable with my teammates and stuff like that. So it's been huge.
Why are you the way that you are, Ellis? And what I mean by that is my lasting memory of you is that you played in a lot of big moments and a lot of big games, but it never seemed to rattle you. You didn't know if you were playing in the state title game or if you were in the second quarter of the third game of the season. What makes you the way that you are?
I would say just kind of repetition. I mean, I've been there in a lot of big moments before, and it's just kind of acting like you've been there, done that. So you just gotta treat it as that. Don't let the moment get too big for yourself. I just try to do what I've always done and try to perform the best in those big moments.
Whether it be a coach, a family member, who do you feel like has played the biggest role or made the biggest impact in your life as a basketball player?
First, I would like to just say my family, just because they've always supported me no matter what. They've always been for me, been there for me. Secondly, I'd probably say Roberto Bergerson. I mean, I always say that one just because, I mean, it really is true. He's helped with basketball since third grade. I don't know how many times we've been in the gym, like probably too many times, but no, he's been there, not even just as a basketball coach, but for someone that I can talk to off the court about different things, basketball or not basketball related, which is nice. And yeah, probably, yeah.
He's pretty vocal about supporting you on social media. When's the last time you talked to him, and what's his advice to you as you get ready to play in the tourney?
I just talked to him last night, actually. I was on the phone with him, but no, believe it or not, had nothing really to do with basketball. He was just asking how things are going. It's not all basketball with him, which is nice. He can just call me and ask me how everything's going, and which is nice, because sometimes when you're around basketball a lot, it's nice to just get your mind off things and stuff like that. So it's nice for someone to just ask about something other than basketball that you're always thinking about 24/7.
There's not too many athletes from Boise that have ascended to your heights as a basketball player. Does that come with a responsibility? I mean, I'm guessing that Roberto was a role model for you. Do you recognize that now you are kind of in that position for younger people that are playing the game here in the City of Trees?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. At the end of the day, I realize some people look up to me, whether they're younger or whatever, but I just try to be myself. I know if I'm myself, then I think I'll be fine in position. I don't try to do anything out of hand or out of character to try to impress people or try to make them look at me as a role model. But I feel like if I'm myself, then I'll be fine.
How much support do you still feel from the people back home?
Yeah, I feel a lot of support just because I have a little bit of a bigger family. So I have a lot of people texting me after every game, telling me good job. And then it was also good to see him during the Big Sky Tournament, because that was in Boise, which was nice. Also, just the people back home, like all my old teammates and stuff like that, they also talk to me pretty regularly, which is nice.
You will make your NCAA tournament debut against one of the blue bloods of college basketball. What can you tell us about Kansas? You got a scouting report for us?
Yeah, we've been going over scout all week, but they're obviously a really good team. They're well coached. So, I mean, we just got to go out there, follow the scout, play hard, do what we need to do. And I think we'll be just fine.
A big shout out to Ellis for taking some time to chat here on the Sports Bar. You know, as a true sophomore, he's appeared in 21 of 23 games for Eastern Washington this season. He's averaging 3.8 points and just over 2 assists to contest. As you heard Ellis say, the Eagles get the 3 seed Kansas right out of the gate. That game will tip off at 11:15 a.m. on Saturday. So with that, I hope you feel a little more prepared now and ready to follow some of our local storylines that are competing on college basketball's biggest stage. Enjoy the opening weekend of March Madness, everyone. I'm Jay Tuss, serving the Idaho sports scene right here on Jay's Sports Bar.